anytime soon. As lawmakers dig in, a federal judge just ruled in favor of federal workers who were laid off during the ongoing shutdown. The judge is temporarily blocking those firings. Meanwhile, the repercussions of this shutdown are coming into sharper focus, especially at airports.
Unpaid air traffic controller, can I give this to you?
That's air traffic controllers handing out flyers to travelers on Tuesday, explaining the shutdown's impact at airports like this one at Reagan National Airport. Also was happening in New York City, Philadelphia, and Chicago. According to the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, air traffic controllers got their first partial paycheck on Tuesday. Their next paycheck is not guaranteed if the government remains closed. They say the financial uncertainty is getting even tougher to navigate.
Not knowing exactly how I'm going to have childcare for my kids or put gas in the car or pay the next mortgage payment adds a certain level of stress onto an already stressful profession.
Let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona. Start ruling that we just mentioned on layoffs, saying that those layoffs cannot stand. What more do we know?
Yeah, so two unions had actually sued the Trump administration prior to the shutdown because they had been foreshadowing and threatening these layoffs. And then just today, a federal judge deciding to grant that temporary restraining order, which will effectively block these layoffs from taking place. I want to read you part of the statement from that federal judge. She said, "The activities that are being undertaken here are contrary to the laws. You can't do this in a nation of laws." So essentially calling those moves illegal. And this comes as the administration has already issued what's known as reduction in force notices to thousands of federal workers, with the OMB director saying today that they want to continue those layoffs, laying off as many as 10,000 people in total. But that, for now at least, on hold.
And Melanie, the top Democrat and Republican in the Senate spoke today ahead of the Senate vote, one more vote to try to reopen the government, expected not to go anywhere. What did they say about the state of the shutdown?
Well, forgive me for sounding like a broken record here, but there are no signs of a breakthrough on Capitol Hill. The two sides are as dug in as ever. As you mentioned, the Senate continues to hold these votes to reopen the government. It continues to fail. No senator has actually even switched their vote since the shutdown began. And meanwhile, the Republican and Democratic leaders aren't even talking or meeting, but they did have dueling press conferences and floor speeches today. Let's listen to some of those moments.
We need 5 more Democrats to say enough is enough, to put the American people ahead of the far left.
Democrats are ready and willing to negotiate with Republicans. We want to work in a serious way to reopen the government and spare tens of millions of Americans the threat of financial ruin.
Now, Senate Leader John Thune is deciding to finally shake up his strategy for the shutdown a little bit. Tomorrow, he's planning to put a full-year funding bill on the floor that would fund the military and pay the troops. But Democrats so far standing firm in their position that they are not going to vote for any bills to open the government until they talk about health care first.
All right, Melanie Zanona on Capitol Hill once again for us. Melanie, thanks. In the Middle East, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is appearing increasingly fragile. Last night, Hamas released the remains of 4 more people to Israel, but hours later, the Israeli military said one of those bodies was not one of the Israeli hostages. The terror group says that it will release the remains of several more hostages tonight. It says those are the last bodies it is able to reach at this time. All of this comes amid continuing violence within Gaza as Hamas appears to be tightening its control inside the enclave. The group's internal security organization has reportedly urged Gaza residents to report what they call wanted individuals. NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now. Raf, the developments we're getting throughout the day today seem to threaten this fragile ceasefire that's going on. What more can you tell us about the final bodies that are expected to be handed over tonight from Gaza to the Israelis, and also that body that Israel says is not one of the hostages that they received?
Yeah, Kate, so Hamas says it's going to release 2 more bodies tonight. The Israeli military says that they are expecting to get those from the Red Cross pretty soon, and that then they will put them